is my co-creator, and oh, now it tells me we're live. Okay, we're live. I'm Andrew Anderson, and this is my co-creator Ron McCain. We did the Knox, which was a mildly successful Indiegogo. We're working on the pages right now. Well, Ron's working on the pages right now. I'm supervising. I'm working overtime to pay for the rest of the book. Thank you so much for joining us. This last week we lost a really good friend of ours, James Hudnall.
Indeed we did. Indeed we
So I
did.
kind of want to spend a little bit of time remembering him and his project that he was doing with Matt Cousin, which was called Agenda.
Yeah. I did see a little bit of news that they are looking, once the dust settles from his passing, that they are looking to go ahead and move forward with the project. So that's awesome.
It also really it depends on what they what they plan to do with everything.
Yeah. Do you know the details of the project?
I know
ongoing or
I think it was a limited series, but I'm not too sure, like the full details.
it would be nice if it would, see completion. I know that's a huge thing for Matt to take on, but
He's got he knows the same guys that me and you all know, and I'm sure someone will step up to the plate and help him complete it, whether it be from an editorial standpoint, or anything else for that matter.
right. And there's still an issue of Indiegogo transferring ownership of the funds to whoever's going to run it. I understand that that's also an issue, but
Yeah.
I think that's going to get worked out, no problem. IGG's been really good about these kinds of things.
Yeah. So we definitely lost an icon.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, he's a wealth of information. He's been around for, wow, he's just been around. He's like one of the 80s stalwarts, he was in the business probably a good 10 years before I was. And he had made a lot of really good contributions to the comics industry. And I think the project and because it was so long ago, I can't really remember a whole lot about it, but Espers was the thing that I remember James from when I was younger. I think that thing came out, gosh, right about just before I started in the business.
Oh yeah.
Well, you sound like a wealth of help. You're not looking at giving up the mortal coil yourself, are you?
No, I'm still kind of getting over the whole asthma thing. I did send out that email about what was going on with us, and just an update through the Indiegogo. Basically, just explaining that financially delays were behind because I couldn't work as much overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was that, and then we got we lost James, which was a huge shock. I hadn't heard Andrew Paquette really mention anything about it. Him and James were close together. They did that. They did that series together that got picked up by Chris Carter. That they sued Chris Carter over.
Oh,
Harsh Realm.
Harsh Realm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was there. Yeah.
So, I hadn't seen Andrew post anything about him lately, so I know they were very close.
Yeah, it's a huge impact when you lose a creator that you've been close to, and this has happened to me before, and I was just coming to acquaint myself with James on a different level, and you know, he was always really invitational, really helpful, and you know, the guy's the guy's pretty damn funny too.
He was.
Um,
He was on stream with us too a couple
yeah,
times.
yeah, and you know, he was. Let's see, we were on his channel too once, weren't we?
Yes.
Early
Yes, we
on,
were.
early on, yeah, and yeah, the guy's just. The guy's just had just a wealth of information about how this business works, and you know, um, it's really sad to see him go. You know, it's a vacuum. There's a vacuum now that, you know, I obviously can't be filled. You know, but you know, his stuff is out there, and you know, I encourage, you know, everybody to go out and check it out. You know, dive
Oh yeah,
into it.
Espers. Yeah, Espers is fantastic.
Hmm.
So
Who is I know the artist, but I can't think of his name right now. Um, really, what was it? Estes?
um
I want to say it
hold
was.
on. Hold on, because I've been resharing like people who have had memorial posts for him. So hold on. The guy that worked with him, I think, on Espers wrote a piece on it. Greg Horn did a piece about James. Yeah, he worked. Greg Horn and James worked together on Espers,
Okay.
and then he did the Psycho with Dan Burt.
Brereton, yes. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that was good stuff too. Um, yeah, you stick those two guys together, and that was a crazy good book.
yeah,
And I love Dan's work. Dan Brereton was, man, that guy could paint.
he could.
Still
And
can.
he did the Lex Luthor too.
Oh yeah, the unauthorized biography of Lex. Yeah,
Yeah, where it looks like the Art of the Deal cover.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome stuff. Mm.
And he did Alpha Flight, so
Alpha Flight. What era of Alpha Flight did he do? Was he on there just after Byrne left?
I think so.
Because he would have
Hold
been.
on, let me look it up. I know he talked to, when he was on the show. I asked about it.
Yeah, I can't remember if he was on there when Jerry Teleok and Mike Mignola were the art team, and I'm not sure if he came on at that point or after, when Ross was doing the book.
Yeah. So he was on the book, volume 1, 67 to 86.
Oh, he was late. Yeah, he was he was
So,
quite a ways late.
and then that's not even like, it's not even as like complete bibliography on Wikipedia.
Oh, I wouldn't imagine.
He also won an ink pot not too long ago, which, for people who don't know, an ink pot is basically a freebie pass to get into San Diego Comic-Con whenever you want. You just show them a black card and you walk straight on through.
I want to get one.
So
No, I would have that and the Eisner. If you get an
yeah,
Eisner board, I mean,
he had an Eisner.
no, I no, but I think, you know, comparing the two, the Inkpot and the Eisner and the Harvey,
Yeah.
you know, because the,
So
you know, the unlike some, you know, unlike the awards in Hollywood that are kind of um, predetermined. They're just kind of sitting there waiting for you to do something, and as soon as you do, no matter if it's good or bad, you get an Academy Award. But if you do something that warrants, you know, like an Inkpot or an Eisner, it's it's a a very well respected award.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking at CBR, and they did a piece on him, James too, and there's a mention of the book that he was working on with Matt.
That's good. It's kind of like a late plug.
It is, but I mean, they were still in the store thing. But like, wow, CBR and Bounding into Comics were the first to break it, but everybody else is like days late. But
days late in terms of
3 days later, posting articles.
Oh yeah.
So, well, we're gonna move into the next sort of topic before we get into our stuff. The new Star Wars preview came out today, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Did you see it?
I have not.
Okay.
I had heard rumblings that it was out, and I haven't made the time to see it.
Did you hear what the title was?
Something about the Skywalker? What?
Yeah. The Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that has implications.
I don't know what it means, and it scares me. I believe in J.J. Abrams because J.J. Abrams is a master storyteller. I do believe in that. I believe that he had a plan. They wouldn't let him finish it, and now he's doing his best to finish it. I think that's what we're getting.
I hope so. I hope it does wrap up. I mean, I would like to see kind of a redemptive finish to the Star Wars trilogy again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get it. I don't know if he's going to be allowed to deliver, honestly.
I think he will.
I mean, think about what they did to him over at Paramount. They, with the whole Star Trek franchise,
part of that was awesome. Part of it was because he was still under contract with them.
Yeah.
And he went off to go make Star Wars.
Yeah,
so
he was kind of plagued because also Paramount and CBS were going at their battle between who owns what and what kind of a story you're allowed to tell with who, and the whole division between the Kelvin universe and the all of that nonsense really has impacted a director's ability and for that matter a writer and a cast for their ability to really dive in and tell the story they need to tell. And if he were to return to finish up that arc, if they got out of his way, I think he'd do a really good job. And likewise with Disney, I think if they got out of his way, he'd be able to tell a decent story.
I think they did. I think Iger saw the ramifications from Last Jedi, Solo, and now Captain Marvel. I think he told Kathleen Kennedy to back off.
That's my understanding. I've in the the stuff that flies by my screen, I see stuff that is like, hey, you know what, you need to take a back seat and let this guy do his job.
Yeah.
And I agree. I mean, they stop being so heavy-handed. You hire these people to do the job, let them do the job. It would be like micromanaging a penciler or an inker on a book, and just looking over his shoulder saying, don't do that, don't do that. Make his eyes bigger, make his nose smaller. You're micromanaging. Let them do what you hired them to do, and they're going to shine for you because you're out of the way, and they're just going to go on everything that they've been trained to do, everything that they know how to do, and they're going to put it into the work. Because that's what these guys live for. I mean, these guys go ahead and they make movies, blockbuster movies, get out of their way, let them make their movies. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of anxious to see what goes on there. Let's see if the trailer broke today, are we getting what release are we getting? We getting a
December.
fall release? December release again?
Yeah. Well, it was supposed to be next month. But Disney didn't want to split their money between, because some people can only afford to go to the movies once a month.
True.
So Disney didn't want to split the money between Avengers and Star Wars.
Yeah. And this is going to be a problem for Disney because they own so many properties now. Movies are going to break, and they're going to, I know they're going to release more than 12 movies a year. So, I mean, you've got a schedule to the point where you're not conflicting with any of your other films. I was on Professor Geek's stream the other day, just in the chat, and he had just seen Hellboy. And we did the week before we did a Hellboy rewatch of Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, and all the films that movie was up against when it released. And that's why nobody saw Golden Army, even though it was amazingly, just visually, it was a treat. It was like watching a box of candy. Just everything was so nice. But nobody saw that damn thing. And I got a feeling that because now Disney owns so many doggone properties, and those properties are going to release, some of them are going to stumble over each other.
Yeah. Well, that's why they moved Star Wars to December. They tested the waters with Solo in May.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, we got to keep it where we need to. So.
Right.
But
yeah,
I mean,
it's I don't like a fall release for a Star Wars movie. It's a summer movie. It's totally a summer movie.
I don't mind the Christmas release.
Star
Wars was originally supposed to be a Christmas release anyway.
Yeah,
but it got pushed back and
yeah, and for the longest time it had that late spring, early summer release date, and it was almost a tradition. I mean, because it had everybody seemed like they were jockeying for that release point.
Yeah, but you also got to remember too, we didn't get a Star Wars movie every year when the last movies were coming out.
Very true.
There was like a 3-4 year wait between each Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then 30 year wait between each trilogy.
God, I hope they're done here, because I don't know if I'm
there's no more Star Wars films after this.
I'm not going to be if they decide to do it again, I'm gonna have to wheel myself in an iron lung into the theater in what is that going to be? That's like 2040 if they decide to do another trilogy.
I mean, they're not going to do any more in the Star Wars, in the, whatchamacallit, in the Skywalker saga. There'll be more Star Wars movies, but they're going to give it a break. I think they're going to focus more on Star Wars TV shows now that they have the streaming platform.
Yeah. Well, did you see some of the stuff that they have slated for the Disney platform?
Yes, I did. I'm super excited about Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Like Vision and Wanda.
I'm not excited about that one.
Why?
That sounds like a stupid love story to me. Not that I don't enjoy a good love story, but
I enjoy good love stories so long as you can phase through walls and cast spells. Maybe they might get that right.
I gotta see it. I gotta see a preview on that for me to be sold on that. But Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I'm on board with Loki. But Falcon and Winter Soldier is like the lethal weapon of the Marvel universe.
That's a good way to look at it.
You got a crazy white guy and you got a normal black dude, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the Knox before I have to pack up and get up early tomorrow. So, Ron, go ahead and show some pages.
All right, let's see. What do we have here? Well, let's go back to the archives here. Oh, let's see what we got here. Let's see. What was? Oh, let's see. No, we didn't broadcast that. So let me entertain you. That's right. Y'all came here to watch me sing. All right, let's do some of the fun stuff here. I don't think anybody has seen this stuff because I it's funny. I've been doing this and I haven't been posting to the Twitter machine or Instagram for like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. So let me reorganize.
Oh no, it froze.
Here's my camera here.
Ron, are you there? Hello, Ron. Ron, you froze.
Come on.
Hello, Ron. Okay, there we go. Is Ron's microphone muted?
Is that working?
Yeah, it's working.
All right. Okay, so here we got the we're in Vietnam. It is the Viet Cong. They get to eat a grenade here as it comes in. See, I'm not sure if are we seeing that good? Ow, ow. Oh, that lamp is hot. Ah, yeah, I want to get rid of that. Okay, so we got a little bit of that. Nice little explosion here where these guys here just get blown to smithereens. And let's see, we got our guys. This is these guys swung around behind them. As you can see, the bodies are all laying down here. I don't know if you can see that because the light is flaring on that. And then we got our guys hiding behind this tank over here. And then the bottom 2 panels, we got our guys are setting up here. They're going around this building. They're posting up behind the tank and working their way between the tank and the building there. And that goes over there. And we've got this guy. Let's see. This guy over here poking a AK-47 through these bamboo drapes as they're going past, and then he just unloads. And as he's unloading, we got our guys are just getting eaten alive here by this guy who's just shooting out of the window there. And the other guys, our guys, Lance and Spokes and John, they're all sitting here on the other side of the road watching this happen. And down here at the bottom, you see Lance is like, no, those are our guys. We got to go and and Spokes holds him back and tells John and
Matt.
Matt, John and Matt to make some music with those M79s, and so they're ready to do that, and let's see right here. So they launch and right into the that little bamboo shack there. There's the tank right there. So they pop off with those things there and blow the smithereens out of that place, and then they just kind of waltz in and clean up. So you can see like that.
I do.
Then it's high fives and smoke them if you got them for all the guys, and well, except for the guys that got killed, which is going to lead to other things. So here's a dead Vietnamese soldier in the front, and this is the tank is right there as our guys are walking through the mist. And then what do we got here? Page 9. We got oh, nice long tall panel that goes all the way down the page there, and you get to see John and Matt on the tank, and then Spokes and Lance, and basically the joke is Lance gives the grenade rings, the pull ring, to Lance as the keys to the tank. Here are your keys, and then oops, and then they hop in and they tool off. Spokes gets on the gun at the front and rides off, kind of like the cowboy, but the crazy man that he is. And everybody else is just kind of smoking. Lance is inside driving, and then ping ping, a couple of shots ring out, and what it is the down here at the bottom is the commander of the Vietnamese troops is still alive, and with his final breath, he's firing his weapon at the tank as it's driving away. So here you get to have a little bit more fun. So some nice big panels here as you see him popping off. You see over here, you see Lance actually falls off the gun, and we lose sight of him. And John and Matt open fire, and here's our lone Vietnamese soldier laying there, and he's just going to empty his gun, and that doesn't do him so good. They get a bead on him and just fill him full of lead. And this is the final shot that we get to see of the Vietnamese soldier. And the shape of this weapon is actually an issued Vietnamese sidearm. I want to say it's manufactured in China.
They were all manufactured in China.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of their stuff was manufactured in China. And here, they're like, Lance pops up, hey, how's it going, guys? Do you good shooting, kind of a thing. And then they're like, hey, where's Spokes? He's not Spokes yet, but he will be in a second. And then we get the horrified, hands reaching up, kind of like you guys drove tank over my legs, you bastards. And you
I
know,
can't
his
believe I wrote that was like one of the funniest things I wrote into that. Like, I don't think people are gonna see it as humorous as me and you did.
yeah, it's you know, last time somebody got run over by a tank, I just laughed my ass off. So um so that turns into, well, the here's the kind of the transition. So you see the transition from his scream reaching forward to Lance 10 years later in bed, popping up, you know, flinging his sheets off, screaming and sweating because this is like the most horrifying thing he's ever seen. Um, and his girl at the time is saying, "Hey, baby, come back to bed. What's wrong?" kind of thing. And he's like, "It's nothing. It's nothing." And she's, you know, a little butt naked there. And it's a nice shot past her and with him looking out the window. But I think it, and then I had to throw a little bit of Kirby in there. So I've got a Kirby lamp that's kind of a Afro uh, centric kind of a design that Kirby would have done, you know, with the actual light sticking out of his head. And, you know, I don't know if you know, you probably just punch him in the nose and the light goes out. Let's see here. What do we got? Oh, and then our beautiful silhouette of Nashville in 1977, where the tallest building in Nashville was like this. What was it called? Like K&S Insurance Company was like the tallest building up until a while ago, and then so here is this nice foreboding shadow creeping up on this staircase, and you have the you know, the stairs to a nightclub that's in between two apartment buildings, and an awning and 10,000 stairs going up to it. And of course, the guy coming up to it is going to be Spokes, who is never going to make his way up those stairs without the kind assistance of our doorman. And you know, this shot, you know, kind of frames Spokes with exactly what he doesn't have, is a nice set of legs. Um, and then also the, you know, the power domination, you know, the power dynamic between a doorman who has authority and a guy in a wheelchair. In 1977, I don't think at that time we had a Disabilities Act that would, you know, require this business to have a wheelchair ramp to the hoochie chamber. Um, and then so he's having words with this guy over, you know, he wants to come into the nightclub, and the guy's like, "Nah, you're just not welcome here." And this is almost kind of a "I'm stepping on you" kind of a thing. Oh, you're out. Okay, bye.
I'm not out. I'm
No,
here.
no, not you, not you. My wife, she's on her way to work.
Oh, bye, Sherry.
Why? She's heading out. And then so then we have this this kind of this moody shot between the doorman and Spokes having their moment. And then as he comes down the stairs to kind of nail his point, you know, kind of send his point home, it's like, "You're just not going to get in here, dude. Go away." He gives him the infamous dick punch, which you know, everybody enjoys. And then
That was one of
the,
my favorite scenes to write too.
yeah, the dick punch.
Yeah.
You know, my favorite thing is like the reaction shot to the dick punch is kind of my my favorite thing. Because it's like, oh, as soon as I get up, I'm going to rearrange your face kind of thing. But that really did hurt. That really hurts. And then, you know, poof. And then, you know, he rides off in the sunset there, leaving the dude behind. And I know it's a kind of a far cry because but this kind of stuff and some of the stuff from the previous page, Gene Colan was to me like the master of light and dark. So when he used to frame his shots, you know, like in Tomb of Dracula, or you know, even you know before that when he was doing stuff for you know Iron Man back in the '60s,
Yeah.
His framing and his shadow work is just you know, and his stuff on Daredevil, that stuff was just amazing. So I kind of took a few cues from that. It was just a downtown street in Nashville as he's making his way home, and yeah, there he is. And going down the street, you get to see some of the buildings and stuff, and then we get to this building that's in a state of disrepair. You know, it's kind of partially boarded up, partially under construction, and the nice little wheelchair ramp that we get into the building. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, the classic elevator at the end of the hall. You know, the long trip, getting underneath.
Oh,
Getting
that's a cool
underneath
shot.
Yeah, I wanted to do this ever since you know I had a chance. I was like, God, I gotta put the camera underneath the wheelchair. So I got a chance to put the camera under the wheelchair, and then you know have him slide because he doesn't knock. He just slams himself right into the wall of the door, and then here we get our first glimpse of Cherry.
Cherry Fox. Hey, did it stop again?
And you know it's kind of one of those cheeses, and it's so it's a conversation between Spokes and Cherry. It's who decorated your face, had a rough John, doesn't hurt. Not the shiner, stupid. You look like a fresh glaze. Oh, you look fresh glazed. Is this the guy? And she looks at him and says, "Are you living vicariously?" Is you know she's just finishing up a dude right there. So I don't know if we're gonna stick with that. That's up to you. That's your call.
We'll stick with that, but I think there was a script that was like, he gave me herpes or something, and he's like, "Oh, it was mutual," or something like that.
And then we get our first shot of the interior of his house, his apartment, and then the her dude, who is kind of a pseudo relationship. It's not really a, you know, he's not just a John, but I guess that's the way it started out. And then I had another thing here. I wrote somewhere where just some dialogue to help me get through the scene was, you know, it's like, Cherry, you better let him go, man. He's got to get to the clinic before his shit falls off. And you know, you know, and then of course the classic response is,
Yeah.
you know, screw you.
You're the one who gave it to me. Oh, is that
Yeah.
what that running was?
Yeah. So let's see, and then we get over here. She's still going off on him, and the dude is left, and Spokes is kind of, and then we got all this foreground stuff that's on a table, like, you know, to-go cups and wine bottles and beer bottles and There's, I don't know if you can see them there. Let's see, I'll pull them down there. Cockroaches and stuff that are in through here, and all of this stuff, because they Spoke's not a clean guy. And then we see that that where he's going is this kind of a fold-out card table, and it's just covered with pizza boxes and pizza slices and trash and wrappers and all kinds of stuff. And he goes ahead and he brushes that off, and everything goes to the floor because he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because he really is just the vilest guy.
I mean, that's the way I wrote him.
Yeah, he's just the vilest, nastiest guy. And Cherry just kind of sits down, plops down on the sofa, and he is sitting in his chair. He's got himself a fresh beer. He's got his plans are all out, and he's just working into the night. Overflowing cigarette butts everywhere, and it's constantly chain smoking. And then we get into John's arrival in the taxi. So he comes in the taxi, and the whole thing is like, oh God, I can't believe it. You're gonna make me come in and get you. He gets out of the, he double parks in the middle of a busy street, and it's the, geez, you don't even lock your door. Let's see, where are we? What is that? Not there. We go. I think. Whoa. You don't even lock your door, and he comes in. He's like, ugh, God, you're just so disgusting, little creature. it's like if one of your friends was Gollum.
Yeah.
You just can't get rid of him because he's your friend, but you really can't stand him that much. So classic TV, all kinds of stuff there, candles to get rid of the smell, and he just pours a bottle on his head, and there we get the reaction, which is let's see, where is that? Right there. Yeah, dude, that's my own piss. And then and then he throws a towel at him and says, come on, man, we got to go.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then I think we got, what do we got here? 19. So he gets him back into the cab, and they speed off, and they're going to get Matt. So they pull up here. There is going to be, I'm going to do this digitally, but there's going to be a wrought iron name to this company. It's going to be right here in an arch, but I'll do that digitally later on. And then John's like, hey, Matt. And he turns around and goes over to him, and they're having their conversation over here, and the talking about what I think it was like poker night. So they're supposed to be going to poker night, and if basically, if you talk to Lance yet, well, if you get Lance to go, yeah, sure, I'm in. And he takes off. And then what we got here? I got one. Oh, I was there it is. I got this one here. So John gets back in the car, and this is kind of should be framed right about like that. So nice heavy dark shape in front, and Lance in the background, and then they speed off, and then there's just a piece of this wrought iron name is going to be here in front of a delivery truck. So now here we go with the pawn shop right here. So it's just this long panel right here where you just kind of get to see other stuff that's there, and the relationship is like of all the buildings and how they all fit together, because that's going to come into play. Here's your pawn shop, damn you.
Would you rather it have been a record store?
Shut up. So we got our knickknacks and our doodads, our guns and our shotguns and amplifiers, because there's always amplifiers in a pawn shop.
It's always guitars.
And we got some guitars. There's guitars back there, and suitcases and luggage, and of course tons of jewelry and stuff. And we got our little old lady, and we've got Lance there, and we've got a dead animal on the wall. We got a jewelry hand. And of course we got our little old lady here, and John's walking in the door, and little old lady, and we got Lance's hand there in the foreground. And let's see, what do we got here after that? We got, I can't remember what she was buying. Was she looking at comics for her grandson?
Maybe. I
Yeah,
know that
I can't remember what it was. What?
I remember when when I told you about this. And you're like,
Mhm.
I don't remember now. I can't remember where I was going. I boarded the train, but the train left without my thoughts.
Yeah, no, I know the feeling. But anyway, I remember in my layouts, they were all like flat. Whatever it was flat. And I I remember laying it out as if there were like a whole bunch of comics spread out
Yeah.
on a glass top. So maybe that's what it was. If not, I can go back and change it. And apparently
Uh,
she
if
doesn't
if
like the
if it
deal.
works, it works.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere because, obviously she is.
Hey Ron, I think we stopped again. Hello. Well, Ron, are you
She
there?
doesn't like his language.
Hello?
Those guitars are like immensely huge. It was supposed to be, I had originally laid it out to where it was a drum kit in the window, but then it started to conflict with John's hand. Um, so yeah, and then
No, I guess I'll just stop the stream.